I had been in a storyline with both Daniel Bryan and CM Punk that led to a match between Bryan and me at SummerSlam in 2012. He beat me with a small package, and I went backstage afterward searching for him, angry and upset. Cameras showed me stomping down the halls, throwing anything I could get my hands around, while everyone ran away in fear. I snatched interviewer Josh Matthews up and screamed, "Where is he?" in his face before tossing him aside. That match and the aftermath were the beginning of our pairing. Bryan and I already knew we would become a tag team before SummerSlam. We had been recording vignettes with our therapist, Dr. Shelby, who was helping both of us work on anger management issues. Those therapy sessions were a lot of fun. Bryan and I continued to go at each other while Dr. Shelby did all he could to keep the peace. Our characters were so full of themselves that in one segment on SmackDown, Daniel said to me, "And speaking of doing things wrong, why don't we talk about what happened on Monday night?" I stood up so we were face to face. "I did what I had to do to be victorious," I told Bryan point blank. "I want to be the next tag team champion." Notice I said champion, singular, not plural, as you might expect with the tag team. Bryan replied, "I want to be the next tag team champion," which was also singular. I parroted the same line back. I even wore a shirt once, after we actually won the tag titles, that read, "I am the tag team champions." It was all about me. This was a running gag. We were completely dysfunctional. Many fans remember those Dr. Shelby skits fondly. Probably the most memorable was our reenactment of the famous diner scene from the movie When Harry Met Sally. As our food was placed on the table in front of us, Dr. Shelby said, "I want you each to take one bite, to feel how the other feels. Walk a mile in his shoes." In this therapy experiment, our food had been switched around. In front of me was just a salad, which is what strict vegan Daniel Bryan would eat. But Bryan had a plate of meatballs, a meal more suitable for Kane and no doubt repugnant to Daniel. After I ate a bite, Dr. Shelby asked, "Kane, how do you feel?" I belched loudly in his face. "Daniel, how do you feel?" he asked Bryan, who had just eaten a meatball. "It wasn't as bad as I thought," Bryan replied. Then he got sick in Dr. Shelby's lap. I just laughed and said, "Check, please." We taped that vignette in Albany, New York at an actual diner. I remember the other customers looking at us. We had our own room for filming, but most of the patrons could still see us. They must have been thinking, "What in the heck is this?" In another segment, Bryan and I were sitting in a group therapy session, and Dr. Shelby asked, "So tell us, Kane, what makes you angry?" The camera shot pulled back to include both Bryan and me. "Please, Kane, we're here to help. So maybe start from your childhood," Dr. Shelby added. "Remember, sharing is caring." Bryan just put his head in his hands and said, "This is a bad idea." As the camera slowly zoomed in on me, I did exactly what Dr. Shelby had asked me to do. Kane shared his childhood. "I grew up locked in a basement," I began, "suffering severe psychological and emotional scarring when my brother set my parents on fire. From there, I shifted around among a series of mental institutions until I was grown, at which point I buried my brother alive. Twice." Bryan still had his head buried in his hands. The woman sitting next to me looked at me like I was insane. I was just getting started. Since then, I've set a couple of people on fire and abducted various coworkers.